Hi, this is Melanie for Pardesi Reviews, and I'm here to do a movie review of the Tamil film Jackpot. If you're new to Pardesi Reviews, I do film reviews and trailer reactions to Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Hindi, and sometimes Kannada films. I just watched the trailer for this a couple days ago, and it's produced by Suriya. It is Jyothika and Revathi. I thought they were being cops because that's kind of what the trailer focused on, but they're con men. So whatever the female version of that, con women. This is a story directed and written by Kalyaan. I really liked how Jyothika got all of these Masha, she got to do all of the slow-mo entrances, even the first dance that they do, they're doing the kind of really masculine introduction dances that her husband Suriya would do in a movie or whatever. And I absolutely loved it. that part I absolutely loved. The opening song, in fact, is called Shiro, and it's actually sung by Suriya's sister Brenda, and that was one of my favorites. The fact that anytime that she fought someone, when like 12 guys would run at her and she would fight just like any other South Indian action hero, I was all about it. I loved all of those scenes. This is in the main a comedy. It has a few of those action scenes. It does not have any romance at all. The music had a few good numbers, and some of the background music, especially, were certain fantasy elements, and then there was it was music evocative to me of the Bahubali kind of soundtrack, of that really sweeping. It was supposed to, it evoked, okay, we're in kind of a fantastical element at this moment. The plot centers around, they're not mother and daughter, but they're relatives, but they don't really explain until the very end their full relationship. But they run all of these small cons. And so what we saw in the trailer of them being policemen, that was just one of the many little adventures that they have. The script, in a way, is kind of all over the place because there's all sorts of elements. And you're like, how the heck does this scene about a little girl that can't smile, like, how is that going to fit into this whole thing? And it's really not until the epilogue that there is a payoff for some of the scenes that have led up to it. And I don't know, it was a good payoff, but wow, it took a long time to get there. And I'm not sure everybody got it and stayed for the epilogue over the credits to see all those payoffs. We have Rakes doing the subtitles. I saw that at the end of the trailer. And when it's a comedy, sometimes I'm a little nervous about going to a film because I know a lot of the humor is going to be wordplay. But a subtitlist like Rakes tries to use English phrases, even if they're not the exact literal meaning. It gets across the joke. It gets across that this is a comedic wordplay situation. For instance, there's a character played by Rajendran. He's in love with Revathi's character. She doesn't really want anything to do with him, but he's useful. So at some point he is making signs to lead certain characters on a wild goose chase. And they were evident. She had tweeted that I think the signs were like misspelled or something in Tamil. And she made the translation so instead of, a sign saying welcome, it said well done, which I don't think is anything close to the wordplay exactly of the Tamil, but it got the message across that this was someone that was doing signs in a crazy way, and there was just a running gag of each sign was another misspelling that made a different word. Comedy is hard, and I will admit that the middle section of the film lost me a little bit. And part of it was because it was a lot about, there's another subplot where you have Yogi Babu playing someone who has been sort of cursed by a soothsayer, I think was how the subtitles said it, and who had just come to his door and was cursed, to lose his good looks. And then, he looks like Yogi Babu. And I got to the point where I really was feeling bad for the actor Yogi Babu, because they kept on, scene after scene after scene of people reacting like, oh my God, why would you want to look like that? Like, we need to get you plastic surgery. Like, you're so ugly. And it was really hard to watch. There was a payoff at the very end that I'm not going to spoil that kind of made you feel better about it, but there was a lot of those scenes, and people in my theater laughed a lot of the first few scenes. I got a little uncomfortable as it went on with that. I mean, I really admire him as a comedy actor, but I've also seen him do dramatic roles recently too, and he's a fine actor, and it just made me really uncomfortable that he has to keep doing things like that. The main plot is about Jyothika and Revathy's characters doing all these cons, and they hear about this magical vessel. Now, evidently, there's a folklore about a vessel that just keeps producing whatever you put into it, be it milk or whatever. The title Jackpot made me think, okay, this is going to be something to do with gambling or something, because a jackpot would be like Ocean's 11 to me. Like, they're going to do a big con on maybe on a casino or something like that, or it's going to be something with gambling where they fool somebody. And that's not really what it is at all. It's about them trying to get this vessel that happens to be on the property of a gangster. And the gangster, Don, is played by Anandaraj, and he has a double role. He also plays a woman. He plays his own sister. Which he does very well, but yeah, that was just for kind of comedic effect. So I sort of had the feeling I didn't have years of watching necessarily Anandaraj in parts as maybe a Don, and to me it sort of seemed like there was just, for the audience familiar with him, there would be maybe an inherent, you're remembering him from other movies, so he'd be scary. It was sort of like Robert De Niro in that movie Analyze This with Billy Crystal. So you just kind of inherently know this person is supposed to be scary. Like, it didn't come across to me. If he was supposed to be scary, maybe he wasn't. But constantly the women, were ahead of him, only one over on him, and just, yeah. So it's just a silly movie. I think Jyothika said in an interview about this film, this is just fun. It's just a fun movie, because she has been in some very serious roles recently. She was in the last Monty Rottenham film, gangster film. So I think she probably wanted to do something light. I like the whole concept of Revathi and Jyothika, of a woman caper, of a woman masala film where they get to play this kind of role. I love that. Now, what was missing is all of those films have a romantic element. Okay, I suppose you could say the very comedic crush that Rajendran has on Revathi's character would count. But Jyothika's character is not, she's not in a relationship, she's not married, so why couldn't she have a romantic element that would have added a little spice to their con game? Things like Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, where you kind of fall for somebody else that's doing the con and then, realize, oh my gosh, I've been conned. You know what I mean? So an element like that could have added a lot to this movie. Not really had a lot going on, I guess, but some of the stuff kind of lost me. I felt like the comedy, there was just a cultural disconnect where I wasn't finding things as funny as the people in my theater were. It's still an amusing movie. I'm just saying I wasn't getting the full impact of it. And that's, for me, that was the missing element. Like, why couldn't she have a flirtation, a something? It just seems sort of odd because it was so completely missing from the film, and every other male who is in a masala film like that would have a romantic element. Kudos to Suriya for producing a film like this and getting it made. A women-centric film is something to celebrate. I will tell you, it's not getting a big release here in Chicago. It was only playing in one theater, and even that, not a full number of screenings a day, only a couple of screenings a day. So I had to drive some distance to the theater that normally plays Malayalam films to see it. I really enjoyed the humor. I enjoyed a couple of the song numbers, were absolutely hilarious and super fun. Awesome to see Jyothika kick butt for a couple of hours. That was worth the ticket. And always fun to see Revathi on film. I just love her so much. Devasuram is one of my favorite films of all time, and just fun to see an actress like her not just playing a mother, getting to play a character that was getting all sorts of madcap scrapes and fight scenes and whatever. Like, it was just so crazy to see her throw a guy over a car, like over the hood of a car. Okay, that moment, worth my ticket price right there. Right there. Anyway, let me know what you thought about this film in the comments below. Follow me on Twitter at PardesiYT, and subscribe here to Pardesi Reviews. And when you do, press the bell, then you'll get a notification whenever I have a trailer reaction or film review.